Hello, this is Derek. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. Sure. We just got off the practice court here, so I'm going to hand it over to Coach for some opening comments, and then we'll take your questions. Reminder to state who's asking the question in advance. Thank you.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon,
everyone. Obviously very excited to head to Chicago. Got a great opponent in New Mexico State. That's a very, very good basketball team, very well coached. I've known Chris Jans for 25 or so years. He does a very good job, and under the tutelage of Greg Marshall at Wichita State, and a lot of similarities in the way he gets his team to play as Greg has done at Wichita State. But a team that has terrific guard play. We're excited to be a part of the Lou Henson Classic, as this is called, and personally, I'm elated. I'm very touched to be at a place where Coach has been. He's achieved great success at both places. He's impacted not only a lot of players, but communities, universities, and to do this is very special, and he's got his name on both courts. So I think that speaks volumes as to his love in Las Cruces and Champaign, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Hey, Brad, this is Mark Tupper. What's the latest on LaRon and Kip?
They were in practice today.
Good. Any? I know they asked Lou the other day about what he was going to wear, and he said he was going to wear his red coat for a half and his orange coat for a half. And I have a funny feeling you have something up your sleeve. What? Are you willing to share any of that?
No. It won't. Let's just put it this way, Tup. It won't be maroon. or whatever color that they call that.
I got you. Good enough. What makes their guard, who has the most filled college basketball passport I've ever seen? What makes him special? You mentioned the other day that he was a guy who may have an opportunity to play at the next level.
Zach's a guy who can go get his own shot at any time. He's got good size. He's very, very gifted with the basketball. I think guys that can score at all three levels. They can score off the catch, from three. They can score off the bounce, and then he in terms of his mid-range game, is very good. And then he gets to the rim, and he's got a lot of what I call jerk in his game, and he keeps you off balance with that. And he's a very hard guard. He's an 88% free throw shooter. And when guys who are as gifted as him with the ball are that good a free throw shooter, they become difficult to guard.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Brad, it's Scott Ritchie.
Hey, Scott.
How has maybe Trent just responded to having, I guess you could say, maybe three of his best games in the last couple of weeks? Just what was he like today in practice? Just what are you kind of seeing from him?
He's followed up his best games with by far and away his best practice today. He was off the chart today. I think confidence is a wonderful thing, and he's playing with a lot of it. He was electric today in practice.
Just what maybe different dynamic has he been able to bring to the offense? Just maybe, with just in general with his skill set, and then maybe taking advantage of it in the last couple of games.
Well, his speed is unique. And I'm not saying he's the fastest, but he is very, very fast with the basketball. He's very good in the open court. As a lot of smaller players have figured out through the course of their life, he's figured out how to get shots off, around the rim. He puts up a very soft ball. It goes in, it lays on the rim, and yet he's always been known as a really good shooter, and that was the thing that he was struggling with at early points of the season. and now that's starting to go for him. And so he again becomes a more difficult guard. He's got a great change of pace, and he's got great vision. Probably the thing that's the least talked about with Trent is his passing. And he sees guys, he sees the open man. He's great in ball screens and pick and rolls, and his decision making has been. Other than dribbling the ball out of bounds at UNLV along the baseline, which was a poor decision, his decision-making has been very good.
One last thing on him. You talk about swagger a lot. Is he a guy that can bring that for you?
He does not lack it. He's Trent's very confident. I think he's playing with confidence. He doesn't think there's anybody out there who can guard him, and there's tremendous value in that. And Lofton's the same way for them. Those guys have extreme confidence in their offensive skills, and that they're a challenge to guard, and Trent's got a lot of that in him.
Brad, this is Mark again. Over the next few years, where do you see Trent making his advances in his game? I assume he adds a little bit of physical strength as he grows along here, but what does he morph into?
Well, I don't think you can ever become a good enough ball handler. He's going to continue that as he just continues to adjust to size and strength of other people guarding him. He's going to figure out how to get open better. He's going to figure out how to come off ball screens better and cleaner. And then he's going to figure out, again, it's still a learning process for him to understand where the pass is to the big who's rolling or the big who's popping, and seeing through arms of bigger players. And with that's just going to come confidence. So, his game is still evolving, and he's just got the natural ability to do some things, and as he gains experience and with that comes confidence, he's got a lot of room to elevate.
Brad, Scott Beatty here from DWS. You've talked a lot about having stronger starts, so a two-part question. How do you evaluate your team lately in starting well, particularly at the beginning of the game and the beginning of the second half?
Hello, Derek. Can you hear me okay?
And also, how does it play into this team is new to every
we just got off the practice court here, so I'm going to hand it over to Coach for some opening comments, and we'll take your questions. Reminder to state who's asking the question in advance.
What they're seeing in the moment, the first few minutes of a game.
It's one of our biggest challenges, guys. Is guys everyone first time. Obviously, very excited to having to make in-game adjustments. A great opponent in New Mexico State. That's something that's a very, very good basketball team. Doesn't happen a lot at the high school level. I've known Chris Jans for 25 or so years. He does a very good job. May have 2 or 3 deficient players or players that aren't as good. There's limited things you can do. Tutelage of now Greg Marshall, which player you've got to be able to counter, and the way he gets his team to play is shift gears mentally. That's why the college game becomes very, very mental. Scouting is a big part of that. I think that we're excited to be a part of all of our players are having to adjust to that, as this is called, and unfortunately, some pick it up better than others, and teams that can make adjustments during the course of the game place where have a leg up. They have a big advantage. Coach has been, and all good coaches success at both places. And you have to be able to counter that, and your players have to be able to a lot of players, but communities, universities,
that are really good at recognizing
to do this is very special, and he's got his name on both courts. Well, I think your more experienced guys become better, just because they've seen more in Las Cruces and Champaign. I think that we're excited to be a part of it. Give you an example, AJ's. Starting to figure out that teams aren't leaving him.
What's the latest on
driving the basketball and taking the next level? Especially in our two-man game, not settling for a jump shot. Which
I know they asked Lou the other day about
driving the basketball to the rim.
What he was going to wear, and he said he was going to wear his red coat for a half and his orange coat for a half.
Spread stuff is.
I have a funny feeling you have something up your sleeve. What are you willing to share any of that?
Going in what they may do. No, but It won't. Let's just put it this way: your veterans have seen more things, so they're ahead of the freshmen. Or whatever color that they call that.
I got you. Good enough.
You see Pinky reading more on that two-man game, the handoff, keeping it.
What makes their guard who has
him developing
the most filled college basketball passport I've ever seen? What makes him special? You mentioned the other day that he was a guy who may have an opportunity to play at the next level.
And when you've got a guy with size who can score in the paint anytime, he's pretty efficient, putting it on the floor for a couple. He's very, very gifted with the basketball. And you put him in that pinch post, he's a handful because of his ability to shoot score at all three levels. So they can score off the catch, as he's understanding it. They can score off the bounce. More comfortable. We're starting to see, in terms of his mid-range game, now very good. Scheme for him, and then he gets advantage of putting him in the pinch post. And he's got a lot of what I call decisions to make for the opposing team. Off balance with that. You put LeBron in there, same thing. You know, and LeBron's he's a very hard guy in the post, high 80%. But again, LeBron's 88% free throw shooter. LeBron's very, very explosive. When guys are as gifted as him, there's some still some things that with a free throw shooter they need to add. They become difficult. But Michael and LeBron are really growing in terms of
how is
being able to make the reads that make that offense very hard to guard.
I guess you could say maybe three of his best games.
Do you have a timetable yet for LeBron or Kipper playing?
What was he like today in practice?
They were in practice today. We'll see how it goes. Best games, how they feel after they did some activity in practice today. I think confidence is a wonderful thing, and he's playing with a lot of it. It's game time for both of them. He was electric today in practice, and we'll evaluate
what maybe different dynamics has he been able to bring to the offense,
activity today.
With just in general with his skill set, and then maybe taking advantage.
Got all here for coach.
Well, his speed is unique.
Good, thank you, Coach.
I'm not saying he's
reminder to bring your student credentials.
He is very, very fast with the basketball.
Tomorrow,
he's very good in the open court.
Your name is on parking for lot E.
As a lot of smaller players have figured out through the course of their life, he's figured out how to get shots off.